Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to talk about tongue development. So let's start our topic with introduction. Tongue develops early in embryonic life from the floor of primitive pharynx, involving the contribution from multiple pharyngeal arches. Its development is unique because different parts of tongue have different embryological origins, explaining their complex nerve supply. Tongue development begins around the fourth week of gestation and is completed by the end of eighth week. Embryological origin of tongue. It includes germ layers involved that include endoderm that forms the mucosa of posterior tongue. The second germ layer that contributes is ectoderm that form mucosa of anterior tongue. Then there is mesoderm that is neural crest mesenchyme and it forms connective tissue and vasculature of tongue. And then there is ossiferasomites that contribute to the tongue muscles. Pharyngeal arch contribution in the tongue development. First arch forms anterior two-thirds of the tongue, that is the oral part of the tongue, and second arch provides some taste buds that include chora tympani, that is supplied by chora tympani, but this is largely overgrown. Third arch forms posterior one-third of tongue, that is the pharyngeal part of the tongue. And then there is a fourth arch that contributes to extreme posterior tongue and epiglottis. Stages of tongue development. First, there is development of anterior two-third part of tongue, that is the oral part of tongue. Then there is development of posterior one-third part of tongue, that is the pharyngeal part of tongue. Then third step in development of tongue is development of root of the tongue and epiglottis. And fourth step is development of tongue muscles. And fifth step in the tongue development is development of foramen cecum and thyroglossal duct. Now let's talk about these stages one by one. So first stage of tongue development is development of anterior two-thirds of tongue, that is oral part of the tongue. Around the fourth week, two small swellings, the lateral lingual swellings, appear on the first pharyngeal arch. A median swelling called the tuberculum impar forms between them, and the lateral swelling enlarge and overgrow the tuberculum impar, fusing together to form the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. Then the line of fusion is marked by median sulcus of the tongue. Nerve supply of anterior two-thirds of tongue is general sensation is by the lingual nerve, that is branch of mandibular division of trigeminal nerve, and taste sensation is by chora tympani branch of seventh nerve, that is from the second arch. Next stage of tongue development is development of posterior one-third of the tongue, that is the pharyngeal part of tongue. It is when a large midline swelling called the copula or hypobranchial eminence arises from the third and fourth pharyngeal arches. Third arch overgrows the second arch, thus contributing most of the posterior tongue part. The line between anterior and posterior parts is marked by sulcus terminalis. Nerve supply of posterior one-third of tongue is both sensation like taste sensation and general sensation. Both of these sensation at the posterior part of tongue is by glossopharyngeal nerve, that is the ninth cranial nerve. Third stage of tongue development is development of root of the tongue and epiglottis. The posterior most part of the tongue and epiglottis develop from the fourth arch, and thus the nerve supply of this area is by vagus nerve. Fourth stage of tongue development is the development of tongue muscles. It is when muscle originate from occipital myotomes and not from the pharyngeal arches. So myoblasts migrate into the tongue carrying innervation from the hypoglossal nerve, that is the 12th cranial nerves. This explains why most tongue muscles are supplied by 12th cranial nerve and not by cranial nerves of the arches, that is first, second, third, fourth. Fifth stage of tongue development is development of foramen cecum and thyroglossal duct. At the junction of anterior and posterior tongue lies the foramen cecum, that is a remnant of thyroglossal duct, and this represents the pathway of thyroid gland descent. Timeline summary of the tongue development. It starts from the fourth week when there is appearance of swelling in the floor of the pharynx. Then there is fifth to sixth week when lateral lingual swelling fuse and anterior two-thirds of the tongue is formed. Then there start the sixth and seventh week when copula develop and forms the posterior third part of the tongue. And by our eighth week, tongue is fully formed, and though it continues growing postnatally, but at the end of eighth week it is completely developed. Clinical significance of tongue development. First, there may be ankyglossia, that is also called as tongue tie. It is caused by incomplete degeneration of tissue beneath the tongue and it leads to a short frenulum. Second significance is macroglossia or microglossia. It is abnormally large or small tongue due to developmental anomaly. If the tongue is large, it is called as macroglossia, and if tongue is small, it is called as microglossia. Then the third significance is cleft tongue, that is also called as bifid tongue. It is because of failure of fusion of lateral lingual swellings. Fourth significance is lingual thyroid. It is thyroid tissue that may remain at the foramen cecum due to failure of descent, and it is called as lingual thyroid. Next significance of tongue development is taste innervation explanation, as different embryonic arches explain mixed innervation of the tongue for the general sensation and sensory sensation. And as anterior tongue from the first arch, so with the taste from the second arch, so anterior one third part, two third part of the tongue is general sensation is by the mandibular division of trigeminal nerve, and taste sensation is by the facial nerve, and posterior part of tongue, posterior one third part of the tongue is the taste sensation and general sensation is by the ninth cranial nerve, that is glossopharyngeal nerve, as it is derived from the third pharyngeal arch. Conclusion of this lecture video. Tongue develops through a complex sequence involving multiple pharyngeal arches, somites, and germ layers, making it one of the more intricate structures of the oral cavity. Understanding this embryology is essential for interpreting its dual innervation and for diagnosing congenital malformations such as bifid tongue, lingual thyroid, and ankyglossia. And this was all about tongue development. Hopefully, you like the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.